So we have our next speaker, and I'm so grateful for all of our speakers. Our next speaker is Halle McCormick. She's a tennis teammate of mine, and she's also on the advisory council for OptWell. And I'm just thrilled. She can tell you more about her background, but I know, thank you, Hadi, for hinting at some of the things that Halle is going to tell us about. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Hi. Hi, everybody. I'm really honored to be here today, and I was honored to ask to be here. So I'm going to be talking about the positive impact of movement on brain health, but I'll reintroduce myself right now. So as she just said, I'm Halle McCormick. I'm a group fitness instructor. I'm a personal trainer. And as of recently, I'm an Alzheimer's fitness specialist, and I'm the creator of Brain Body Fitness. Brain Body Fitness is a class that I created after I received my certification, and what we do is brain challenges in conjunction with a movement or exercise piece. And I'm going to dive into that a little bit later in my presentation. Before I move to the next slide, if you are able, I would love for you to get a chance to stand up right now. We spend so much time sitting. We spend so much time sitting. We spend so much time in this position, right, in what's called flexion, flexing our spine. And what that does is it closes off or shortens the muscles in the anterior part of our body, right? And that can create a lot of physical pain, and sometimes even it can create a lot of emotional pain. So what I'd like you guys to do is just roll those shoulders back, take a breath, one more time, roll those shoulders back, and feel that nice stretch in your chest. I'm not going to be able to do it with both hands, but if you could, I would like you with both hands to open up that chest, even open up your fingers and open up your palms. This is how we should try to get up through certain times of the day and stand and feel that stretch in the front part of our body. If you're able, I would like you to maybe move your hands to your back, whether it's palms or whether it's fingertips on your hip bones, and just push those hips forward. Again, because we live such a sedentary lifestyle, we often have tightness in our hips, which can lead to acute or chronic back pain. The number one reason people visit their physicians and their orthopedics is back pain. And a lot of time that's because of shortened muscles in the hip region, and it's because we spend so much of our time like this. So I'm going to continue to talk about movement later, but I want to encourage you to get up as much as you can or you're able throughout the day and move and go into that extension like I just demonstrated. I would love it if you could stand just a little bit through this next slide, because why the heck not? I just told you we want to move more, right? So I'm going to give you a little bit about my history and my motivation very briefly. My grandmother died in my early 20s from Alzheimer's. That was my mom's mom. My uncle, my mom's brother, died last year of Lewy body disease, which I don't know if you could read the slides, but it's one of the 6 types of dementia. And then my mom passed away last September from Alzheimer's. Sorry, I was going to get through that. Practiced. Anyway, but so my mom was my motivation for moving forward with my certification to become an Alzheimer's fitness specialist, and she was my motivation to create this brand. So I'm really proud of it, and I'm really proud that I'm able to do that. Shortly after my mom's death, I got gene tested, and I do have a copy of the APOE4 gene, and that is a genetic risk factor. So I got a little bit fearful at first when I got that result of that test. But I did not want to live in fear of my genes, and I did not want to live in fear of my lineage. So I took the exam to become an Alzheimer's fitness specialist, and what I learned was incredible, and a little bit of what was just touched upon. We do not have to have our genes allow us to live in fear. There are things that we can do, and there are lifestyle changes that we can do to reduce our risk of Alzheimer's. We talked about diet. We talked about sleep. Sleep is important. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later. Stress factors, but movement is key. So I'll have you guys sit down a little bit. Some of you might be like, Jesus, are we doing that the whole presentation? So you can go back to sitting. I want to discuss briefly the difference between movement and exercise. Movement, again, highly encourage as much movement as you can through the day. But movement is vacuuming, movement is cleaning your dishes, movement is carrying that laundry basket up and down the stairs, or getting up from your desk and walking to the refrigerator. That's movement, and that is important, and again, I highly encourage it. Again, you probably heard all of this before, but maybe walk a little bit farther, park a little bit farther from that parking spot. Walk the stairs, not the elevator. I highly encourage it. But what I also highly encourage is exercise, and that is different from movement. Exercise is something that is a challenge. It's structured time that you set to challenge yourself physically, and that creates a physiological adaptation, right? So it's something that stresses your body. So exercise is strength training. Exercise is going for that walk, but maybe a little bit farther, or something that gets you breathing a little bit heavy. Taking that long bike ride, right? That's exercise. You do not have to belong to the gyms that I work at to exercise. You can do it at home. There are opportunities to grab suit cams and in your seated position if some of you aren't able to move. Grab something in your home that you can lift overhead, or go in a hinged position and move back. It's pushing yourself up and off your chair. It's finding a heavy object or backpack in your house and squatting and picking it up. That is exercise as long as it's challenging to you. And I want to stress it's in that challenge, as again was hinted at, it's in that challenge that we see the adaptations and the changes in the brain. I'm now going to shift to the positive impacts of movement and exercise on brain health. Exercise and movement increase blood flow into the brain, and that increases oxygen and nutrient delivery into your brain. Exercise can increase the size of your hippocampus. As we age, our hippocampus naturally shrinks, everyone, right? But it's in a hippocampus is that memory center of your brain. So exercise has been shown to reduce that shrinkage, and some studies show it can actually enlarge the hippocampus. Exercise reduces inflammation in the brain and oxidative stress, and exercise and movement enhance sleep. Sleep was touched upon. Sleep is key for brain health. We want to try to aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep, and it's at that sleep, that REM sleep that was discussed, where short-term memories turn into long-term memories. It's where we go into our glymphatic system, where we reduce the waste and toxins from our brain. So I highly encourage sleep, and movement and exercise is imperative for sleep. Movement and exercise feeds our brain essential neurotransmitters and what's called BDNF. I'm just going to talk about a few of them. Neurotransmitters that are released in the brain during exercise are serotonin. That's your happy or your mood neurotransmitter. Dopamine, which is your reward or your motivation. Some of you might hear of that as a runner's high, if any runners are here. That's when you are increasing, you get that feeling in your brain of, I can keep going. That's the dopamine rush in your brain. Acetylcholine is another important neurotransmitter that's actually released during a muscle contraction. So when you're strength training, when you're doing some exercises that require coordination or motor skills, and that acetylcholine is important for learning, memory, focus. And BDNF stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. What that is a protein found predominantly in the brain that is essential for neural growth, maintenance, and survival. It's imperative for neuroplasticity. It allows to grow new neural connections. So exercise is imperative for that release of BDNF. So what I do in my class is what was also discussed in the previous presentation. I do movements with a brain challenge that, again, will trigger the release of those neurotransmitters and BDNF. So they can be things like squatting, going down and up, but every squat, I'm going to start at 4. I'm going to then maybe add up 4 to 8, and then I'm going to maybe count to 72 while I'm doing those squats. If you're sitting in a chair, you can do the same thing, overhead raises. Maybe start at 3 and count up. If you're just going for a walk on your own, this was also touched upon. Maybe walk, don't just walk. Listen to something where you can learn a new language. Maybe count backwards by 3. Maybe say the alphabet backwards. We do that in my class. I have a couple class participants. That's hard. But it's with that challenge that the change in the brain happens, and it's only with that challenge. So again, some things we do in my class, we go into a wall sit, and we'll say the alphabet but skip a letter. Or maybe I'll have everyone go around the room and give me a noun that starts with that letter. Again, anything you can do to challenge your brain. Some things we also do is we use objects. And again, I know I'm talking fast. I'll be at the resource table. But these are things that you can do at home. Maybe try to balance on your non-dominant leg. Even if that's a challenge, great. Just start there. And then as you get better and better, let's see if I can do this with the mic and the audience and the lights. I got it, right? You can go on your non-dominant leg and toss with your non-dominant hand. Oh, look at that. Thank you. But then, or going for a walk, what I highly encourage is walking and tossing an object. That visual reactivity and that hand-eye coordination are going to be imperative for, again, getting more bang for your buck and that neurotransmitter and BDNF release. Okay, she's coming up, but one more thing. On this tennis ball, I've got these numbers, right? Just even toss the ball while you're moving. Look at a number. I've got a number 3. Look at the number. I've got a number 9. I'm going to add 9 to 3. Look at the number. I'm going to add 3. I don't know what I'm at because I'm talking fast, but you get the gist. There are things that you can do at a brain challenge with your movement. Thank you. All I ask is that you train today to protect tomorrow. We can reduce our risk of Alzheimer's and other dementias if we create some lifestyle changes. So thank you so much. I'm at the resource table where I have more information. I'm honored to be here. Thank you. Bye.